Okay, today we're going to talk about fins, tails, and bottoms.
FTB.
FTB. We've got all kinds of things out there, and, well, round tails, diamond tails, thumb tails, squash tails, square tails, swallow tails, double bumps. What's the
Single
difference?
bumps, triple
Single
bumps.
triple bumps. Give us a little insight as to, on certain kinds of boards or whatever, what kind of tails should we be riding? I mean, I know I've been trying fishes. Instead of getting swallows, I've been doing a thumb tail, which seems to really, not only does it keep my rail a little bit more, but it also gives me a little bit more push into the wave, seems like to me. I don't know.
Yes.
But go over that with us and give me some knowledge in this area, please. Because obviously I'm ordering boards, so I need to know what I need to get in my quiver.
Well, to be honest, the squash tail is the standard. It looks like it's kind of like a thruster. Squash tails are the way to go. Squash tails are nice because they're very forgiving. They help you catch the wave good. They're good on turning. They're good on everything. The round tail, thumb tail, whatever you want to call it, has taken off really good. I've got some guys that are riding them and they love them. And it's kind of a, what you get is you get a little bit smoother feel through the transitional turns. So if you're a little bit better surfer, a little bit more advanced, you'll notice that feel in a round tail. You'll notice it responding quicker. It's just flows better. It has a better flow to it, and I think that's what everybody likes about it. The swallowtail, you go to that. Swallowtails are great. You see them on a lot of fishes, and people call them fish tails. They're not really fish tails. They'll call a fish, a fish because it's got a swallowtail. That's not. It doesn't always work that way, but that's another issue. But the swallowtails, generally you'll see them on fishes because they add bite. They get out those little points back there, so when you go into a turn, they'll actually add a little bit of holding power, which helps that wider tail with control. That's why you don't see a whole lot of squash tail fishes. You'll see some round tail fishes because it'll kind of do that same thing because it allows you to sink the tail faster. Gosh, when you start getting into all the other stuff, the bat tails, the what else is there? Everything else.
Well, what about diamond tails?
Diamond tails are cool.
Are really neat.
Yeah, they're really cool. The theory behind it is you end up with a board. Let's say you ride a 510. Let's just say, because I think that's what you ride.
Yeah, I got a 510 diamond tail.
So anyway, so you ride a 510 as your normal board, and you do it as a diamond tail. The theory behind it is that when you do a turn, you've got a shorter rail line. So what it does is it actually responds quicker. So it'll actually respond like a shorter board. But you got that length. So you got the mental part of that 510, but you got a rail of a 5.9, or sometimes even a 5.8. And so it gives you a little bit different feel on that. Honestly, I've ridden them for a couple of years. I like them. I just like different stuff anyway, so I'm good on that.
Well, it's great to experiment.
It's so fun to experiment, and yeah, you get your regular board you've been riding for a long time. For instance, a great example of that is Seth Tiliakis. He's been riding squash tails for a long time. Done a bunch of squash tails for him. He came up with a thumb tail with a rounded pin design that we've been doing on his boards, and we did him a squash tail and a round tail that were exactly the same, and he rode them, and he liked the round tail better. And he said it was really funny because he really thought that the squash tail worked better, but the mental side of the round tail just was overwhelming, and he liked it so much better, so that's what he orders now. So it's a mental game. It's a mental game.
You've got to experiment.
Yeah.
Got to experiment.
Yeah.
If you're trying to break loose of something that you've been in for a long time, and put a different tail on it, put a different fin on it, do something different.
Yeah, which fins. There's a next level to that. You can, I know so many people that get fin systems, which most people do, get fin systems and never change their fins. Right. It amazes me. How do you know if the board can ride any better? Now, what I found is I'll always I'll start playing with my fins. I'll put a set of fins in the board that I think is going to work good. I happen to like the FCS M3s, and I'll ride those for a little while, and then I'll switch them out. I rode H2s in my board, I guess last fall, and that was interesting. Went back to the 3s. Then I rode my Kelly Slater 7-times world champion fins because, after all, they're worthless now because he's now 8 world titles. So, and so I rode those for a little while, liked those. Now I've actually changed my board, and this is something else you can do. You can take like your fish, like if you ride a wider tail board, normal thruster, we can turn it into a quad. I just did it to my board. I did it to Kyle McCarthy's fish. And it's pretty cool. So now you got a board that you've been riding for a while and you know it. Turn it into a quad. Now you can see what it really does. Right. You know, and so you can really kind of change around with some fins there too. But play with your fins. Try different fins. All the surf shops have it set up to where you can have test drive centers. You can go in there and swap fins out with them. Experiment. The worst thing about surfing is to get stagnant and get stuck in a board, like you were saying, in a board designed. I've been riding a 6'2" squash tail for 5 years now. Okay, that's boring.
Yeah.
You know, your surfing went to this level, and that's as far as it's ever going to go. You keep hitting that ceiling, and it's like, change it up a little bit. Get a thumb tail the next time. So don't do something radical. Change the tail. Change the fins. Change the decal placement. I got guys that get decals, in the same spot every single time. You know, so, and some of that's mental, and it's okay. But, I mean, at least change the color. You know, you do that, yes. So it's okay.
Build a quiver. It's worth building a quiver. Keep those boards. Build a quiver. Save up if you got to, a little extra, and keep that board. Don't trade it in. Build yourself a nice quiver and ride those on different days, and eventually you're going to get it dialed in, and you're going to know what you like, where you like it, and then you start messing around with some other stuff.
Yeah.
And you have all kinds of fun, and it progresses your surfing so much better.
And I think we'll probably get into bottoms and the subject all by themselves.
We'll
I think
that.
That's a good thing, because there's so much to do with bottom contours, and everybody likes something a little different, and nobody really knows what they have. So that's a good subject. We'll show you. We'll lay a board out on the rack and show them the difference.
Great. Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea, because people don't know what a double concave is or a single concave is.
Right.
They know it's in the bottom, but that's all they know.
That's all they know.
And until you show it to them and say, this is a single concave.
And this is what it does. So that's what we're going to cover in another podcast. Yeah. And we got them all coming in. I mean, send us some emails. Give us some more questions. You know, we love to be here to answer them for you. Get Mike to answer them for you and share his knowledge that he's had for, God, a long time.
I know I look like I'm 20, but I'm a little older than that. I've been doing boards for 30 years.
From the Blue Room, peace out, and thanks Mike again for answering those questions, and send us those emails, people. Thanks.